Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're really digging into that new trailer for the 2025 Superman movie, just dropped. Lots to unpack.
Oh, yeah. We got a pretty detailed breakdown here, frame by frame stuff.
So our mission really is to pull out the key baits. What's it telling us about the plot, the characters, potential fights, using this analysis as our guide?
Exactly. We'll try to give you the essential insights.
Yeah.
Cut through some of the noise.
Yeah. For you listening, whether you're hyped for this or just curious, this is your way in. Let's connect some dots, see what we find.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, so right off the bat, the trailer opens with Lois Lane interviewing Superman.
Mm-hmm. And what's really key here is it's clear they're already established. Lois knows who he is.
That's a big choice, isn't it? Skips the whole secret identity reveal thing, at least for her.
Yeah, it lets them dive straight into the complexities of that relationship. Trust, responsibility, different angle.
And her questions, they're not exactly puff pieces, are they?
No, definitely not. They hint pretty strongly that the public isn't universally thrilled with Superman.
Specifically about him intervening in some border conflict.
That seems to be the trigger, yeah. Two nations fighting. He steps in.
Yeah.
And apparently it didn't go over well with everyone. So he's facing skepticism from the get-go.
Which is interesting, not the usual instant adoration.
Makes you wonder about his role in, global politics in this version.
Yeah.
Did good intentions backfire?
And this border thing seems pretty central, because we see other heroes there too, right?
Yeah, that was striking. Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific show up in those scenes.
So Justice League presence? Maybe.
Suggests it. But we don't know why they're there. Are they helping Superman? Or do they have their own reasons? It adds a layer.
It's not just Superman acting alone.
Right. And the analysis we've got also mentions the Department of Defense being involved.
Oh, yeah.
Shows the Pentagon. And even Rick Flag pops up.
From Creature Commandos and Peacemaker.
The very same. Possibly heading up RGUS now, maybe with Waller out of the picture. Adds another faction to the mix.
Okay, so government, other heroes, and then it gets really interesting.
The capture scene.
Yeah. Superman, captured. It's a strong image, kind of echoes that moment with Henry Cavill's Superman.
It does. And look who's there. Rick Flag, you mentioned him. Engineer. And this other figure.
The one in the black suit. Looks like Superman, but no.
Exactly. Very mysterious. And the big question the analysis raises is, why is Superman allowing himself to be captured?
Right. He doesn't look like he's fighting it hard initially.
Well, the theory floated here is Lex Luthor. Pulling strings. Maybe he leaked Superman's alien origin, scared people, scared the government.
Leading them to step in and try to control him. That makes a kind of sense.
It fits with that public distrust vibe the trailer's pushing hard.
And speaking of trust, it sounds like Lois is struggling with it too, not just the public.
Yeah, our source mentions comments from James Gunn suggesting their relationship, is loving but complex.
Yeah.
Being close to Superman brings trouble, responsibility.
So Lois might have reservations about the danger, the scrutiny.
Seems plausible.
Yeah.
It adds personal stakes. It's not just world saving, it's how his life impacts hers.
Okay, then we get glimpses of, chaos.
Yeah.
A crashed ship in the city, damaged buildings.
Yeah, definitely signs of a major conflict. Could be linked to Mr. Terrific somehow. Or maybe that group, the ones in similar costumes we saw earlier.
Right, the ones with Engineer and the black-suited guy. Suggests an organized force.
It does. Is Mr. Terrific part of that or fighting it? Unclear. But then you get that shot.
Oof, the black-suited clone just slamming Superman into the pavement.
Yeah, that pretty much solidifies the idea of a doppelganger, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Probably Luthor's creation.
The reviewer also mentioned a little detail. Apparently an earlier cut had people throwing things at Superman when he was down.
Oh, interesting.
But now it's changed. He just blinks. Shows they're still tweaking the visuals, I guess.
Always refining. But let's talk Lex. We see him watching events.
Oh, yeah. With this incredibly satisfied look on his face.
Totally. You just know he's behind a lot of this. And one theory is pretty wild.
Go on.
That he unleashes a kaiju. A giant monster.
Seriously? Why?
Well, think about it. If you want to make Superman look bad, or maybe make his intervention seem necessary but destructive, a giant monster fight that you instigated, perfect cover.
And facilitates his capture afterwards, maybe?
Wow.
Okay.
Plus, there's a shot of some kind of vehicle flying near the battle, described as Justice League or maybe Lord Tech.
Lord Tech? What's that?
Good question. The analysis suggests maybe a tech corporation or some government-linked group. ties into that idea of different factions reacting to these super events.
Gotcha. Okay, shifting gears slightly, we get a look inside the Daily Planet.
Yes. Nice little nod for the fans. Lois, Jimmy Olsen.
Cat Grant, Steve Lombard. The gang's all there.
And there's a line from Lois in that scene, isn't there? Accusing Superman of thinking he's above the law.
Yeah, that stood out. Ties right back into the government trying to control him, maybe corporate interests too, like this Lord Tech.
Exactly. It's all interconnected.
Then there's this mention of a character called Hammer.
Uh-huh. Apparently, there's a newspaper headline in the trailer that mentions a hero from Brivia called Hammer.
Okay, a new hero?
Maybe. But the reviewer has a theory. What if Hammer, who seems to have laser eyes, is actually the Superman clone?
Yeah.
Just in a different disguise, another layer of Lex's manipulation.
Whoa. Okay, that would explain similar powers and sets up more conflict.
Interesting.
Okay.
It's a compelling idea. It makes you question who's who.
But then, amidst all this conflict and suspicion, there's that scene, Superman falls.
Yeah.
And the public, the ordinary people, they rush to him, help him up.
That felt like a real turning point in the trailer. A total shift from the earlier distrust.
It really hits that tagline, doesn't it? Look up, hope.
Absolutely. It feels like we're seeing his journey towards becoming that symbol, earning that trust back.
So, despite everything, his actions start to win people over.
That seems to be the narrative arc. He hits a low point, faces distrust, but ultimately, the hope comes through.
Okay, but the forces against him are still very active. Lex. He actually gets into the Fortress of Solitude.
Right. Him and Eve Teschmacher and Engineer is with
So do they get past the defenses?
Engineer uses her nanomachines to disable Superman's robots. Her power set sounds insane. Building stuff, healing, flying, shape-shifting, tech control.
Wow. So she's the key to getting in. And Lex is there to, what, scout weaknesses, steal tech?
Probably gather intel, yeah. Find vulnerabilities, understand its strengths. Classic Lex.
Then there's that shot of Green Lantern struggling against some kind of weird energy. It looks almost like a black hole.
Yeah, described as a mysterious force.
Yeah.
It's got this purple energy signature. Maybe another one of Lex's toys. Or something else entirely.
Unknown. And we also get flashbacks. Young Clark Kent.
Looks like a more, maybe humble upbringing compared to some other versions.
Contrasting him with Lex, maybe? Showing his connection to humanity?
That feels right. Grounding him, emphasizing where he comes from versus likely Lex's more privileged background. Sets up their conflict.
We also see Superman hurt. Like, really hurt. Recovering at home.
Yeah. Lois is there, and Krypto is lying on him. A moment of real vulnerability.
He's not invincible. And then the Phantom Zone.
Big reveal. We saw that tech linked to Peacemaker's dad, right? But now Lex seems to be using it.
And there are cells with people inside.
Multiple glass cells, yeah. Looks like Lex is collecting, well, someone's. Maybe other powered individuals related to his plans against Superman.
Creepy. And Superman looks really weak in one shot there, surrounded by robots.
Yeah, the analysis attributes that to Metamorpho. Apparently, we see Metamorpho transforming his hand into kryptonite.
Ah, okay. So multiple threats, kryptonite exposure. That explains the weakness.
Definitely facing a lot.
Then we get quick cuts. Justice League, maybe, in uniform.
Hints of a team up, yeah. Possibly during that kaiju fight we talked about.
And a stadium battle. Engineer versus the clone.
Seems like it. Lots of action building up. It feels like the different threads are starting to converge.
Yeah. And some weird stuff, too, like the ocean parting with that purple glow again.
Definitely looks like Lex's tech signature.
Yeah.
Based on the color cue. Unclear exactly what he's doing, but it looks large scale.
But then, right after that, a really nice small moment. Clark's mom.
Martha.
Yeah, saying she cleaned his boots. And the reviewer noted this kind of supports that theory that his costume might be homemade in this version.
That's a great touch. Really grounds him again. Humanizes the whole thing.
For sure. Then, more conflict hints. Lex's girlfriend is taking pictures or streaming. Hammer's still around. Engineer is moving across the ground using her nanotech.
Yeah, that looked kind of creepy the way she moved.
And finally, Superman confronting Lex in his office.
Thinking face to face.
He just tosses Lex's desk aside. Looks furious. He's
Yeah.
clearly had enough.
That's got to be a major moment. The direct confrontation after all the scheming.
And then Mr. Terrific and Lois are seen going somewhere. Looks like it leads to the Phantom Zone.
Seems like they're staging a rescue or maybe going after Lex.
And Metamorpho is shown using his powers again. Maybe fighting Superman who's broken free.
Could be. The final battle might actually take place in the Phantom Zone, that dark, otherworldly setting we see.
Yeah, that looked intense. And there's a laser blast heading for Superman. Clone. Lex Tech.
Hard to say. And that final shot, Superman flying up, then crashing down hard, looks like a brutal fight with that black-suited figure.
Leaves you hanging, doesn't it?
Definitely. High stakes.
But woven through all that action, all that darkness, is that theme you mentioned. Hope.
Yeah, it keeps coming back, the idea of hope returning.
And this is clearly an earlier Superman, right? Less experienced, facing huge threats.
Absolutely. The analysis emphasizes this is him learning, growing, facing maybe the toughest challenges of his early career. It's about his evolution.
Overcoming all this adversity, that seems to be the core story. Hope isn't just there, it has to be earned, maybe. Fought for.
Precisely. It's a journey to hope through doubt and conflict, which feels like a really strong foundation for this new take.
So wrapping up this deep dive, I mean, this trailer packed a lot in.
It really did. We've got a Superman starting out under a cloud of suspicion, government breathing down his neck, Lex scheming like crazy.
A dangerous clone, other heroes popping up, the Phantom Zone.
But through it all, that thread of hope starting to shine through, and seeing his early struggles, how he becomes Superman, that's exciting.
Yeah, it paints a really complex picture, lots of moving parts.
Definitely sets up a potentially rich story.
Okay, so here's something to think about as we wait for 2025. Given how much distrust and how many obstacles Superman faces right from the start in this trailer, what do you think the actual turning point will be? The moment that really locks him in as that symbol of hope for everyone?
Good question. Is it one big event or a culmination of things?
And maybe on a bigger scale, how could Lex Luthor's schemes, which seem pretty elaborate, the clone, the kaiju maybe, the Phantom Zone captures, how could all that impact the wider DC universe they're building?
Yeah, are these contained threats or do they have ripple effects? Lots to ponder.
Absolutely. Well, that's our deep dive into the Superman trailer. Thanks for exploring it with us.
Thanks for listening.